This content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin, this is Kodabuki Jake, and we're here to show you what they got.
Yeah.
cover it as quickly as possible. I got rice on the boil, so I might be disappearing in a little bit to check on it. But
Okay.
we are going to do what we can. So let's take a look at our big old board here. Everybody loves our big old board of Tiermatic
Indeed.
Maker. And, of course, we have our various things. Our top and our bottom we both have to agree on, which would be priority, which means you will get it. Oh, yes, it will be mine. There is no doubt. And if we have to pay a little bit more to get it, we will. Hell no, it will never be in the collection. Ever. Even if it's given to us. So the rest of them, we try and take that average and round down. So, for instance, if I rank something like, I don't know, Garbage Pail Kids, the movie, as a priority, and Jake is like, meh, I would round down to Curious, whereas, because that would be the lower of the two. So, speaking of, yes, please, something we wish list, definitely want to keep an eye on, but if it goes out of print, well, you win some, you lose some. Curious would get if the price is right. Meaning, you look at it and say, this looks cool. Oh, only $10? Okay, I'll grab that. Then there's meh, which is really impulsive because it would be like maybe $1 or given to us. We'd definitely check it out if it was given to us.
Right.
And that's all we've got. So this time I'm going to be starting us out. Jake has a lot to go for, so I managed to expand my list a little bit. I'd say about half of my list is stuff I added to make sure that it was at least, I would have at least one for every two. So
Everybody gets one.
let's go ahead to start with the Bells of Saint Trinions. Now, I admit this concept entertains me. It's one I threw on here as a maybe, and then ended up going on with a yes, I'll eventually get it. And this one, it looks entertaining. It's about about this girls' school, and you've got 3 individuals, like a brother and 2 sisters, and they're all played by the same guy. And the girls are these kind of delinquents that want to make money not by doing the typical things, but they want to do it by like betting on horses and stuff like that. And it sounds like just in general a fun thing. I mean, and you can take a look at that now. That's a severe looking thing right there. And apparently it even spawned a TV series to go along with. So I am always curious when it comes to these sort of things, which, by the way, is my rating for this, because it's, maybe this would be fun.
Now, are you meaning to put this up so everyone can see it?
Yeah, well, everyone can see it except
I'm not
for
seeing
you.
anything.
Well,
okay.
I didn't share it with you.
Okay, I see how it is. Okay.
That's right. I don't want to share it with you. But there you go. If you want it, you can have that. There you go. That's what it looks like.
Good times.
And,
oh, yeah.
I'm going to try and make sure I've got that. But yes, that it is. Okay, got it. All right. And no, wrong way. There we go. We're not trying to watch it, though. Where are we? There we are. So where were you?
There we are. Well, I will agree. That seems right curious.
All right. So we're going to get rid of that.
Next up, we have a film called An Intervention, which is getting a not too expensive Blu-ray release from, I guess, Indie Rights is the releaser. My understanding of this, Chelsea Bledsoe and her husband Greg throw a surprise intervention for her old high school boyfriend Henry, with a mismatched group of acquaintances from back in the day to fill out the guest list. Now, from what I've heard, first of all, this is a 2021 release. It is a brand spanking new movie. And so part of me is curious, in part because it's one of the first 2021 ones to catch my attention. from what I understand, it's a largely improvised film that is kind of got a mockumentary vibe to it. And it's supposed to be funny in that painful way that interventions can be. But I don't know. I'm curious about it. I think, yeah, that's my ranking. Curious.
Oh, and by the way, it says here on Amazon, it's Eek on Film Productions.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's something that amuses me by that name, you know?
Yes, yes.
Apparently, if you like that, you should.
Oh, you found it? I couldn't find it on Amazon.
I say right here, and there it is.
No, I couldn't find the listing. I found their streaming of this movie, but not the actual purchase.
Yeah, this one I actually found by typing in. But yeah, I do like that it also recommends if you like the fireplace in your home DVD, you'll like this. That bodes well for it right there. Yeah, I can go with curious on that one.
Okay. And the next one, which I'm not sure why it's second, is called The Act of Reading. And just look at that title. That's a curious title right there.
I like the cover.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't know why I said title. You know what I mean. But yes, that is a curious-looking title, cover, whatever. And from what I understand, it's essentially a documentary about people studying Moby Dick. Yeah. And it says a retired high school English teacher is confronted by a former student who failed her class 15 years earlier. Mm-hmm. He then involves her in a feature-length presentation on Moby Dick and the science of reading. So I don't know what to make of that concept. It sounds like it could be interesting. Moby Dick itself is a pretty dull book. Of course, it's a good story, but Melville, his writing style is not everyone's cup of tea.
I'd have been happier with half of it left out. The half on whaling.
In all probability, I mean, he sorry. His story, Bartleby the Good Scrivener, was excellent, so he had the ability to write very, very entertainingly. But at any rate, this seems like an interesting concept. I love the cover art. It catches my attention. Now, Blu-ray.com shows that this is a Gravitas Ventures release, and like several of their releases, you can have it yourself for a mere $40.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, so I don't know that I would rush out to get this one by any means, but I am curious.
Yes, curious is definitely where it's at. It was one that I had on my list of I would be okay with covering before it got snatched away.
Cruelly snatched from you.
So, one of my filler picks, Death Trip.
Okay.
I really was debatable, but I was like, I need one to get up to 12. So I went ahead with this. It looks okay. It's another Gravitas one. 4 friends take a cottage vacation in the dead of winter, seeking refuge. Okay, yeah, now I remember more about it. It's one of those where you've got some strange people in the neighborhood, and the strange becomes more deadly as time goes on. So, you know, in a way, that's kind of cool. I really do like that. It does build some suspense. I'm not going to be paying like $40 for that. Or $45.50 for the DVD. Jesus.
Yeah.
But this one is a curious for me more than anything else, but nothing more.
This was one, if memory serves, that I looked at IMDb's description and said, that could be a hell no. Now, I don't remember for sure that I saw anything that said that. I don't know. Maybe because it's a Gravitas release, I'm getting the impression these are probably limited pressings. So I'd be willing to go meh, if only because I wouldn't want to kick it to the curb right away. But I have no real interest in it.
Oh, and just as a heads up, the only way I found this next title that you're going to cover is through Movie Zing, which they do offer both of these titles separately. Also, it's a burn-on-demand site for those of you who want to.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, because now that I look about it, they do not have a price listing on Blu-ray.com, do they?
Nope. $29.20.
So we have a 2-pack edition of After We Collided, which I believe we discussed a few months back, and Cruel Intentions. Apparently, After We Collided is also getting a simultaneously re-release. I think we determined at the time that I don't really care about that movie all that much, but I like Cruel Intentions. I really do like Cruel Intentions. It's a fun movie. It's very entertaining. It's worth watching. Probably overdue to get a nice re-release on its own. I would be willing, because of that movie, because I have it on DVD and I'm not opposed to getting After We Collided, I could give this a very low curious as a 2-pack. But really, honestly, it's right on the edge between that and meh.
I will actually agree on that exact sentiment. I don't even have to. I don't have to say anything. That's about it. Even
excellent.
Moving on.
Excellent. And then the next one, we're going to be simple too, because I think we covered this 2 weeks ago, and they must have just pushed it back.
Curious,
yeah. Arch enemy, Curious.
All right, moving.
Too bad they didn't push back Beach Babes from Beyond again, because I really wanted to talk about that one.
Yeah, they pushed that one back again to last week, but sadly, it was not a good week for me. So, moving on. All right, well, welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. May I take your order, please?
How about a Good Burger?
So, and of course, this is a release. There was a Nickelodeon show called All That, and they would do these sketches. It was a kid sketch comedy. It replaced You Can't Do That on Television, and I believe Roundhouse also did that. For those of you who are Nickophiles out there, and Keenan and Kel, of course, they were one of the famous groups that came out of All That. And they even include the original Good Burger sketch, the one that started it all, which is kind of cool. But this one's finally getting its first release on Blu-ray. Now, All That kind of was debuting around the time where I was growing out of Nick. And so it was... I watched a little bit of it, because I think I was still in my teens when it came out. But... I was in my later teens, so this one was not my demographic, but it missed my demographic by literally only a few years. I mean, really, it was not that much. But I know a lot of people really love this movie. They have a lot of love for it, and I'm glad that those people are getting it. And I may eventually get this myself, because it's an okay movie. It's funny enough. And I like the old Nick movies. They are fun. They have a charisma to them. So I would give that a high curious for me.
I was not a Nick kid, and so I did not have that connection. And this was one that I was aware of its release at the time. I probably did see part of it over the years. I feel like once I actually did watch a good chunk of it, but it just never grabbed me. I most certainly would not turn it away. I would accept it. I would pay $1 for it. I might even pay $2 or $3, but I'd probably give that a meh.
All right. I say as I'm transferring my copy of Top Gun into a cracked case because Bong of the Dead is a more important film for me.
Oh, okay. Okay, so a film that may or may not have nostalgia for some people, but if so, it's probably a weird, creepy nostalgia, is a movie called Baby Doll, which is apparently actually a Elia Kazan film featuring Carl Malden and Eli Wallach, and based on a play by Tennessee Williams. So, I mean, how's that for a pedigree? But from what I understand, it is a film that was controversial in its day and definitely in the light of Me Too and everything, the whole older person having a younger bride concept probably won't play as well as it used to. Warner Archives is putting this out again, like they are doing with a lot of their older films. And I'm curious, if only because of the pedigree, but I can't give it much more than that.
I'm even less than that. I really didn't show any interest in it myself, so I'm going to meh it.
Meh it. And so next up is a follow-up to something we did, I swear, not more than a month ago. Kino Lorber is putting out season 2 of a Scandinavian TV series called Border Town. As I mentioned before, I would very much like to improve my world television viewing. I'm intrigued to see what Nordic television might look like. I can't remember if this is Nordic or Finnish, but whatever. It's up Finland. There we go. Finnish television. I'm curious about it. Same thing as before. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I'm low curious, mainly because it's Scandinavian. That's probably the only reason why I'm giving it a low score.
Right.
The only film I have seen in that kind of locale, the only series is the Lars von Trier series Kingdom or Bridget,
which was, I need to see. I've heard it was excellent.
It is a good series, yes.
And what I've seen so far of Scandinavian cinema, I have generally been quite impressed with that. So it bodes well.
For those of you who have watched, you might have. Actually, I don't know whether I've shown off my copy of this or not. I think I have. Of part 1 of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind Set 2 or Set 1. It is one of those that I mean, you saw the special edition. It really doesn't match the.
No.
It's I don't know. I'm kind of meh, but I don't want to also lose the chance at getting it. So it's one that I'm going to be watching, and if I see it go out of print, or starting to go out of print, I'm going to have to just jump on it because I do want to keep up with the premium sets. That's the problem when you really must have a premium set. You've got to keep your darned eye on it. Right. So, and a premium set for me has to be a priority because of that. I have to get it eventually. It's just a matter of when. Don't really have much else to say other because it's just JoJo, and I'm really disappointed in them for doing less cool premium sets.
JoJo is still one where I'm in the curious range just because it's a big investment. I have not seen the show. I've heard good things, but I'll go curious.
Now, there are standard editions, but
right.
So that'll put it in 2
But
weeks,
it would
please.
be cool. I agree with you. The original sets were cool looking. You know, it's like I want.
So I'll be probably getting this in the premium of this, and then when I get the money. All right.
Okay. Okay, what we got next? We got Breach. Breach is one, do you know, is this the first Blu-ray release, or is it...
Well, let's
No,
see what Amazon
no,
says.
they had a release. No, they had
Another
one
in
last year.
April. Yep.
So I really don't know what the impetus for this release is, but Breach is a really good film, somewhat underrated, pretty solid cast. You got Chris Cooper, Ryan Felipe, and Laura Linney. It's, as it says on the cover, inspired by the true story of the greatest security breach in U.S. history. If I remember correctly, I think this came out before Mr. Snowden did his thing. I could be wrong about that, but this was a good movie, and I enjoyed it. I have a copy somewhere. I would not mind downsizing to Blu-ray, but it's hardly a priority to rush out and get it, so I guess I'll put it in a curious.
I may have Breach. Let's see. Breach. Bubba Hotep. Yes, I do. I have the DVD of it. I don't remember it. I guess I can just stay down at curious. I really didn't have much. I've seen it, obviously, from what it looks like, but I really don't. I really don't care.
Okay. And for the next one, we have The Cowboy Way. This one, like Breach, is one that I have encountered many times, but I've never actually seen it. This is a early 90s film with Woody Harrelson, Kiefer Sutherland, and Dylan McDermott. Also got Mark Helgenberger and Ernie Hudson. Not a bad cast overall. About cowboys in the big city. That's really all I know about it. It looks fun. I like Woody Harrelson. Most of his movies are worth a view. This is one I've been curious about for years. I just never really prioritized seeing it. So, hi, curious.
I like Woody Harrelson films, so I'll go with curious as well. Moving on.
All
right, so this one I had debated putting on there, and then I was like, oh, I need movies to cover. So this is on there. I don't even remember if I watched this back in the 90s. I did watch the Jetsons cartoon growing up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know that you...
I forgot there was a movie, though.
I do know that you watched, you also watched, that in the Flintstones and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and they did, I think it was 1990 or something, they did a movie to come back to that, the Jetsons version of the future. In a way, it's a sad state because the future of the Jetsons world is basically that we screwed up our environment so badly they had to move to the skies. It's actually much darker than you would think. This is not the first time it's been released on Blu-ray, but the first time it's been released on Blu-ray here in this country. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for this film. This is back when they tried to, because in the late 80s, early 90s, they were trying to reboot a lot of these old Hanna-Barbera properties. They had Flintstones Kids, Pup Named Scooby-Doo, all of these things. So they were really trying to rebrand them 90s ways. You can even tell by the cover that they wanted to put some rock and roll in there, make it all cool and hip. And so to me, it's more of a curiosity than anything else. Actually, no, it's probably going to be a meh for me. I'll tell you the truth.
Well, I'll be honest. Likewise, I don't think I ever actually saw the movie. I have limited nostalgia for the show. There is some nostalgia. And I was tempted to put it on here. I am amused. Very much amused. This is a Kino Lorber release, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I am very much amused by that. And probably for that more than anything else, I am on the border between low, curious, and meh. I suppose the fact that I never have seen it and I'm curious about it, I'll give it a curious, but it's right on the border. But
right.
You're bringing it down anyway.
Yep, I am.
Next up, we have one our buddy Dane probably wants to see called Film Worker, which is about a guy who worked for Stanley Kubrick.
I feel sorry for him.
Yeah. This is Leon Vitali, was a rising British television actor, but Stanley Kubrick picked him for the role of Lord Bullingdon and Barry Lyndon. That first encounter proved decisive. He swiftly resolved to devote the rest of his life working for the director. This time behind the scenes, it took on just about every job available: casting director, acting coach, location scouter, etc., 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 eventually restorer of Kubrick's films. So that's kind of an interesting idea, an interesting concept. It's interesting as well that Barry Lyndon was the fourth from the end of Kubrick's filmography. I mean, you basically got The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. But, you know, again, the restoration work is ongoing for some of the older ones, so that makes sense.
What a ride.
What
a ride that would be.
Indeed, what a ride. I am very curious about this. It looks like it would be an interesting companion piece. When we inevitably do cover Barry Lyndon on the show, this will be probably a good one to watch along with it. So I'm definitely curious.
Yeah, I can go with curious on that myself.
Okay.
All right.
Next up we have an oddity. We have a little old series called Gourmet Girl Graffiti, which I had the original release from Sentai that has, if you will, a considerably less, that's not as scandalous a cover as Sentai often likes to do, but the original had a much nicer cover, I think.
They've been releasing several more scandalous covers lately.
They love to do that. Well, they've been doing that forever. It's kind of annoying, really.
Yes, it is.
But Gourmet Girl Graffiti is very, 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 very much. I watched about 6 episodes, maybe 7. I own it, but I've not gotten around to cracking open this copy. I actually watched it streaming. And it is a show for which the phrase food porn was invented.
Even worse than Food Wars?
What's that?
Even worse than Food Wars?
Well, see, I haven't even seen Food Wars yet. But this is one where the girls, not only do you have some gorgeously rendered food, but their reactions to eating it get a little interesting.
My.
But it is a fun show. It's an interesting show. If you're into food porn, you definitely ought to check it out. If you're into just general moe anime that have a somewhat thematic approach to their subject, then check it out. It's a little slower moving than a lot of shows are. It is definitely a cute girls do cute things, slice of life kind of show, but on the very, very low speed setting. But it's a good one. I was curious about it. I remain curious about it. I will eventually watch my copy. I would not consider it a priority unless you are hardcore into food porn, but
it's one that I would be on the borderline between yes please and curious, so I'll just let yours go because I have it. I don't have that version. I have the other Blu-ray release, but it is what it is.
But this is the one,
better.
I believe this is the one where they add the English dub, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
but
they're doing that with a bunch this month.
So, all right. So this next one is one that has been very well talked about, And one I need to
I think
watch.
it got didn't this get a whole bunch of Golden Globe nods?
I think it did get some nods. And this is right back to where, you've got that kind of... really, Jordan Peele kind of started this whole thing with Get Out, where you've got a lot of, black-dominated horror that's actually appealing to more of a general audience instead of the niche that it had been in the past. And I like that because it's a lot of it's usually pretty good and very well written.
Peele has an excellent feel for that.
Yeah,
he is really good with that.
I think this, and of course this runs off of that concept. I think a lot of it. I don't think he's involved in this one at all, but there is a lot of interesting stuff. I like the Lovecraftian stuff. There's a lot of potential for iffy stuff and that because of Lovecraft. But it's one that I would love to check out. It's just finding the time. So it's one that's on my list. It's one I would put on a wish list, so it would have to be a yes please for me. But it's, it's going to be sitting on there for a little while.
I have to concede that this is one that probably would not have been more than a mild curiosity for me, except for the fact that it is getting so much buzz, so much Golden Globe buzz. And am I remembering correctly that John Boyega is the star of this series?
I think so. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Jan Demeridge, Jonathan Majors looks like one of the big ones there. I don't see it.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe not. Journey Smollett and yeah.
I mean, it's a mostly African American cast.
Courtney B. Vance, yeah. So it could be fun, and it's an HBO series, which bodes well for it. I'm going to give that a. I don't know that I can go yes, please, but I can definitely say I'm very curious.
All right.
Okay.
So let's see.
Now, one that will definitely be a yes, please.
And I'll be back. I'm going to go upstairs and check on the race while you're talking on this one.
So sometimes patience is a virtue. Sometimes it's a good thing. And we are now 2 seasons into the release of the animated show Harley Quinn, featuring Kaylee Cuoco in the title role. I have been wanting to see this from the get-go. I have heard that it is excellent. I've heard that it's insane and that it's fun and just good times. And I really want to see it, but Lake Bell plays Poison Ivy and apparently is a full co-star. It sounds like a good time, and both Season 1 and Season 2 are available on DVD for around $20 each. So getting them both on Blu-ray for the first time at the same basic price seems like I was smart to wait.
Unless you get this one and then they release the 3rd season as a full batch.
In fact, to be perfectly honest, if I was not flat broke, I would have pre-ordered this, so I'm going to go ahead and call that a priority.
I'm not sure whether I'm going to prioritize it this time. I may just wait until the whole thing is out and they just release it all in one thing. So, because I wasn't sure how they were going to be releasing it. So this gives me more of a hope that they're just going to release it all at once. And since I can't get to it anytime soon, and it'll probably be more of a yes please for me.
Okay.
I've heard it's really good, though.
Right. Same here. Okay. And next up we have The Informer. It says here from the producer of John Wick and Sicario, that certainly bodes well for it. You know, and you got Joel Kinnaman. The main reason I'm into Rosamund Pike, Clive Owen, main reason I'm interested is you have Clive Owen and Knives Out's Ana de Armas. And between the two of them and the connection to John Wick and Sicario, I am more than willing to give this a shot. I have little priority for it, but I'm certainly curious.
Oh, let's see here. Boom. Hit the wrong button. There we go. So, let's see. That's there. Me, I have no interest in this, really. There are only a few actors or actresses that will get me really excited to watch something. Not really in this, not for this particular actress. So for me, it's more of a meh. I'd watch it if it was given to me, or if I found it at the Dollar Tree. I might check it out.
That one screams Dollar Tree pickup.
It does.
You know?
I've seen a lot of them in that vein.
Yeah, we've had a few of those this week, actually.
Speaking of ones that probably should be Dollar Tree pickups, Paranormal Prison. Mm-hmm. There is no escape. This one may have made my grade one way or the other, but definitely having to make up space threw it in there. It's just basically a paranormal investigation team end up going into a haunted prison. You know, that whole thing. Oh, we're skeptics. Uh-oh, it's real. Oh, my God. We're all screwed. You know, I mean, it's gravitas, so again, it's expensive as all freaking heck. $56 for the Blu-ray and $45 for the DVD. So that one's more on the curious end for me, because I like haunted movies. I'll admit, those movies entertain me, so I'm sure that if I found it for a decent price, I might be willing to go for it. But heck, if I would go for it at, like, good Lord, that just no, not $56 for one Blu-ray, no. Especially
I'd buy that for $1.
Especially not one that looks like it would just be a campy, ghost film that it could be decent at best.
Right. I'm going to be honest, that was one that I looked at the cover and immediately moved on to the next. I was like, yeah, okay, I just don't have any interest. But now you describe it a little bit, I'm like, it sounds like something I could accept in the collection. It definitely, being a Gravitas release, there is that feeling of, oh, I'd like to have it. But again, I'd buy that for $1, maybe $5. I would not, no, not even close to 50. What are they thinking? So I'm going to have to go meh on that one, but it's a strong meh.
All right.
Or I should say, I guess a weak meh in that case. So next up, we have a movie, again, one that I've known about for many, many years, that I've heard a lot about, that I've never seen. And it's a documentary called The Kid Stays in the Picture. And it's apparently a movie about filmmaking. And so Kino Lorber's description: success, scandal, sex, tragedy, infamy. And that's just the first reel. So this is, it has to do with Robert Evans, the first actor to run a major Hollywood studio. In a decade, he took it from worst to first hit. I don't know. This is one, again, I have mixed feelings to what I would really make of the movie, but it is such a well-known movie. It has a very high rep. Kino is handling the release. So, and actually right now they have it on sale for $10 off SRP. So This is not a bad time to get it. So, but it's and Amazon has it on sale for just a couple bucks more. It is definitely a strong curious to me. To be honest, I might have to put this at yes, please, just based on the reputation. Yeah.
Well, don't worry. I'll put it back down to curious for you.
Okay.
It's got me curious. The reputation does have me curious, but not enough for me to wish list it.
Okay.
All right.
So another Kino Lorber release about filmmakers. Man with a Movie Camera, a Soviet film from 1929, way back in the day, that apparently is sort of a trippy meta before meta was a thing kind of movie, where they're not only documenting people, but they're documenting the process of making a film. And I don't know. I don't know much about this, but I'm intrigued. I'd like to see older Russian films. I need to just generally films from the 20s. That's still an area I could stand to see a lot more of. So I'm going to give this a very high curious, borderline yes please, but a high curious.
That was actually not long after the revolution, really. I mean, it wasn't that long.
Right. Right.
So I'm just trying to see some information here. Yeah, I mean, and at the time that this came out, what year was it? 29?
29.
Yeah, I mean, Lenin had only been dead for 5 years.
Yes.
So, because Stalin had just been working on his power base at that point. They were still probably feuding with Trotsky. So, very interesting. So, I'm with you at the curious end.
Okay.
All right. So, random acts of violence. Speaking of returns. Well, this time I've seen a good portion of it, and it's pretty decent. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's not overly bloody, as you would think it would be. And I like the concept of a bunch of people going to a con and having somebody who's dressing up as one of the comic book characters killing them all.
Right.
I need to see the whole thing. I haven't finished it yet, but it is on my list to get back to. So it's still a strong curious.
Remind me, was this a movie or a series?
Movie.
You didn't finish?
I was half asleep when I started, and then 2020 film. Well, I guess it is a 2020 film, but I just I had other films that took priority.
Right. I know how that goes. So you think it's one that would not be too excessively gory or anything along those lines?
No, you could take it fine. I mean, shoot.
Okay.
If you got through Candyman, you're good.
Then I haven't yet. I'll give it a meh, but a strong, like a high level.
All right, moving on.
Okay, where are we at? We have got Mayor, which I was able to find last night, but not when I looked for it this time. So I don't know what you've got up here.
You got to type in DVD because it's only a DVD release.
Okay. Well, it's a DVD release. It is a documentary, I believe, involving, isn't it Palestinian politics? Am I remembering that correctly? You just eliminated what I was trying to read there. Let's see. Feature saga following Musa Hadid, the Christian mayor of Ramallah, during his second term in office. His ultimate mission to end the occupation of Palestine, etc., etc. This looks pretty interesting. It looks like it would be something that would be very worth watching. Anything that sheds light on what's going on over there, I like to try to see. And I'm very curious about this. I'll give it a strong curious.
Yeah, I'm curious on it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. And for something completely different. Continuing with that theme of Sentai releases getting English dubs, Sentai has somewhat strangely because I have this edition of the To Love Ru that includes Moto To Love Ru as well as both seasons of Darkness.
You got the big
But
edition, yeah.
yeah, I got the big set, and it's shredded to bits because the cats decided to, the actual case isn't, but like the plastic around it. But this one does not have the English dub, but you've got 4 shows in a nice compact. I'm happy with this. But did they do a re-release of season 1 with the English or of Darkness?
Yeah, they did. I think we've covered. Well, I don't know about Darkness, but I do know that they did a release of season 1 with the sexy
Maybe that's
cover.
coming up.
With the sexy cover.
And yes, we were talking before about how Sentai likes their salacious covers. Makes it very hard to show random
This fits
people.
the series though more.
This is a full-on HE series. I won't deny it. It's a very well done and entertaining HE series, no doubt about it. It is a fun show, but yeah, be aware that it ain't for kids.
For kids.
But I would actually go full yes, please, on the entire To Love Ru franchise, because it is a fun show.
Yeah, I can go yes, please. I may eventually consolidate if they get to it where they release a full series set like you've got, but with the English dub, I may decide, yeah, maybe I'll do it.
I would consider that. I would consider it. Mm-hmm.
All right, another one of my fillers. I've done a lot of filler today.
This one I skipped in order because I was already getting a lot on my list, but I like the cover.
It's interesting. It's a comedy. It's a weird thing.
Right.
So it's a comedy that follows Miles and Jane as they struggle to survive in the corporate jungle at Teleplex, a top data mining company. After learning their lecherous boss has been secretly recording the women in the office, they hatch a plan to take him down, enlisting the help of Jameson, a trust fund party boy, occasional friend of Miles. Their mundane 9-to-5 becomes much more than an HR headache as they come into possession of Teleplex's true nefarious business model and are forced into a climactic showdown with its maniacal Tarzan-obsessed CEO. So,
okay.
Again, it's gravitas. Again, it's expensive. $47 this time. I don't even understand.
You could save $1.50 on the DVD.
Okay, I don't understand their pricing structure because it goes from 46 to like 50 something. They're always high, but it's like I don't exactly understand what makes it a little bit more expensive than the others. But again, it looks like a fun comedy. I'm curious, but not that curious. Not $47 curious, I'll tell you that. But it is on there.
Okay. Speaking of things that will drain your wallet fast, we have 2 very long-running shonen series getting additional stuff this week. We have, first of all, My Hero Academia Season 4 Part 2, which, so the limited edition has a different cover from the regular?
Mm-hmm.
And they're both being released this week?
Yep.
Okay. So, Season 4 Part 2, this is a fun show from what I understand. I've seen the movies and I've read the manga, but I haven't actually seen the show yet. But I do want. It looks really fun. The manga is incredibly fun. And the movies are incredibly fun. You've seen more of the show. You can definitely correct me if I'm wrong.
I've seen that season 2, which is pretty good. The season's also really good. I mean, that first part where they fight the mob boss there, I mean, you know this, you know that particular story. It is a freaking epic battle.
Right. And then overall, while I'm not crazy, again, about Funimation's methodology here of releasing this show, I'd like to get the really nice limited box sets, but with the 2-part inserts, but I'd much rather get nice limited edition box sets that contain an entire season and do it all in one purchase.
Yeah.
But this is definitely a priority series. I'm not going to say priority in the sense I would pre-order, but it's definitely wish listed. I will give it a yes, please. I'm just waiting for pricing to come down.
For me, it's one that I had been debating on because they waited an exceptionally long time before they started releasing full season sets on this series. But they have released full season sets of season 1 and 2. I want to say maybe I think they released season 3 recently. Let me see. My Hero Academia. I just want to double check on that because I could be wrong. Let's see here, because they love releasing them in the parts. Yes, they do have the season 3 release, so they are moving it up. I got lucky and I got season 1 through 3 for like $60. So in that big collector set from Walmart. So I do have them, season 3 in that part 1 and part 2. But I'm probably just going to wait for the full 4th season to get it. It is a priority for me because I will get it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But but it's a lower priority.
Right.
All right.
Okay, and next up we have Naruto. Set 2, coming out on Blu-ray from Viz Media. And these sets, I believe... Actually, I think these sets contain more than the original releases, didn't they?
Well, the original releases were 13-episode releases.
Yeah, so this is what essentially equivalent to 2 of those, I believe, or 3 of those even.
Yeah, there was
no, more like 2.
There was a DVD re-release of season 1 that released them in slightly larger chunks, but those are out of print, I believe, at this point. So.
Well, regardless, this covers episodes 28 to 55, which includes the Forest of Death arc, which is nice. And then the one-on-one matches from the Chunin exam. Oh, they even point out here the first episode you ever showed me, Rock Lee versus Gaara. So this is an essential set for you people that want to see when the show really kicked off, I think, for a lot of people. And this is a great way to condense your collection.
Yeah.
I'm actually very seriously eyeing these as a way to save a lot of shelf space. Even though those original boxes look cool and they come with the nice art books, this would save a lot of space. And I'm sure the show looks good on Blu-ray, probably. So if you don't have Naruto, I would consider this a priority pickup. I do have it, but otherwise I would consider this way of releasing it to be a priority pickup.
Oh yeah, if I was just starting to collect Naruto, this would be on my list. Because I have it all collected, I'm not reinvesting a lot of money into the series again. And the Chunin exam is really where the series starts to truly open up. You get to see a lot of additional ninjas, because the first part of the series, it's mainly just Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, with Kakashi as the leader. And once they get to the Chunin exam, you get to meet almost all the others, because you only get to really meet the others in passing, and you get to see a lot more focus shifting, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Yep. I call dibs on the next Naruto and My Hero Academia releases.
Okay.
So speaking of something fun, one that both of us were looking at, but I grabbed this because he already had 24. which is Toilet Down Hanako-kun, which is a...
Does that grab you?
which definitely... Because there's a story, a lot of them use, like a ghost story about the girl who wants the toilet, essentially. Mm-hmm. And it says here, Kamone Academy is rumored to have many mysteries involving one of them. Young Nene ends up linked to a ghost of Hanako-kun. Now the pair are trying to keep things civil between student and supernatural, but mischief always seems to find them. So I find this a very intriguing concept. It's Funimation, and this doesn't look like it's going to be one that go on the classics line. This looks like one that'll hit the essentials line. So I'm willing to hold off until it hits one of those before I'll grab it.
You mean next week?
But definitely not for $48. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it is one that's on my radar as a high curious.
This is one that the first time I saw the title, I was like, "Oh my god, really?" And I have not forgotten the title. It sticks with you.
Yes.
I'm curious about it, definitely.
All right, moving on.
Okay, next up, Riviera Season 1. Julia Stiles, Lana Olin. That's a pretty fun little cast there. Okay. I know very little about the show. I don't know that it's all that spectacular or if it's not, but it looks fun. So, moderately curious.
Okay. I will be going and putting it as meh.
I figured as much. And then we have San Francisco, Oscar-winning film, if I'm not much mistaken. I think it won for sound, and it was actually up for Best Picture. And you have Clark Gable, Jeanette MacDonald, Spencer Tracy, Jack Holtz, etc., etc. This is definitely a film I'm going to have to see eventually. I'm going to have to get eventually because of its Oscar history. It is a Warner Archive release, re-release, whatever the case may be. I kind of have to go yes, please, because it's an Oscar winner.
Yeah, same here on that end. Actually, I would put it as a priority for me because I have to get it eventually. It's going to be mine eventually. Yes, it will. But the eventually part is there, so I could say maybe it'll be on that line.
Good times.
All right.
And then?
The Unseen. This one looked interesting enough. For those many years, it had been down there, breathing, eating, growing, hiding, waiting, until it has been the Unseen.
Ooh.
So this is a release that is being done by Scorpion Releasing. I haven't heard of them. But again, it's just one of those like kind of creepy monster eats ones. It's an older film. I think it's one of the 70s or 80s. I can't remember exactly. So it's one that I like. I like this other one's like 3 beautiful women, an old museum, and now an unspeakable terror hidden in darkness until now. Yes, indeed. So, again, it's one that's on my list of curiosities. I like those older ones. They're fun. They're entertaining. So, it's one that I was like, oh, yeah, I can use that as some filler.
Nah.
All right.
It just didn't. It remains unseen. So, next up, we have The Swordsman. This is I believe it is a Korean film. Directed by Choi Jae-hoon, featuring Jang Hyuk, Jung Man-sik, and Kim Hyun-sol. Released here by Welgo USA. Welgo has put out some pretty cool stuff, including a lot of good Korean stuff. Not a bad SRP on that either, not in the least. I know very little about this, and it supposedly got kind of meh reviews, but it could be worse. And, sounds like a nice little martial arts centered kind of film. I'll give it a curious.
Yeah, I'm at a high curious for it. It looks like fun samurai type film almost. So,
Right.
And I like seeing modern takes on those. So I'm sure it'll probably be good. It'll be fun, I'm sure.
Right. And then we have The Underneath, a film by Steven Soderbergh, which pairs him with his Sex, Lies, and Videotape star Peter Gallagher. It's also got Jojo Baker and Allison Elliott. Neo-noir thriller based on the novel Crisscross by Don Tracy. Peter Gallagher, Elizabeth Shue, Allison Elliott, Jojo Baker, William Fichtner, Adam Tracy, Paul Dooley, Shelley Duvall, and Anna Jack Comer set the stage for passion, danger, betrayal, and murder in this provocative crime drama. Sounds fun. And I like Soderbergh. I think he's a good director. Can't remember if I've seen anything from him that I would call noir, but I'm definitely curious. So I give it a strong curious.
Meh. It takes most noir is a meh for me because I have been bored greatly by most of the noir I've seen. It could be a first time to get me to love it, but I have not found one yet that has got me going, oh, this is what I have to see.
Oh.
All right, speaking of interesting
I like
things,
this.
the very excellent Mr. Dundee. Now, this is kind of a callback to Crocodile Dundee. Of course, Paul Hogan coming back again with Chevy Chase, John Cleese, Jacob Elordi, Olivia Newton-John, Wayne Knight, and Reginald VelJohnson.
How's that for a cast? Holy crap.
So, again, this looks like it's really fun. I know it's a revisiting of this kind of later. I really want to see this. I really, really want to see this. This is a high yes, please for me. It's being wish listed. I'm not getting it right now, but it is definitely wish listed.
The reviews I read were middling, but it has so much promise.
I don't expect it to be great. I just expect it to be fun.
No. I expect it to be fun. I mean, come on, you got Crocodile Dundee, Clark Griswold, Mr. Wilson, you got John Cleese is great and everything. I'll give that a yes, please. It must happen. It will be a while, but it must happen. Yes.
It's not a terrible price, but I'm waiting until it gets down to 10 maybe.
Part of that is the nostalgia for the Crocodile Dundee movies. But speaking of nostalgia, we have the film The War, which featured Kevin Costner and a very young Elijah Wood. This was one of his first major roles, actually. Directed by John Avnet, the director of Fried Green Tomatoes. It's about a family and their Mississippi summer in 1970. Costner plays a Vietnam vet. He's kind of dealing with life back in the States. You've got Mara Winningham in there and Lucas Black. It is a really good movie. I'm not sure I would call it a great film, but it is one that I have tremendous nostalgia for. I don't know if this is the first on Blu-ray or not. It looks like it could be.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So, what's that?
Here in the States.
Yeah. So if you don't have this yet, this is a great opportunity to pick it up. I'm tempted. I think I have it on DVD. One day I may get Blu-ray to save space. If I did not, I need, like I said, I don't know if, see, it's hard for me to say what I prioritize because I can't say for sure if I have it.
Well, think of it as if you don't have it. How would you look at it if you did?
If I knew categorically that I would not have it, and I saw that it was coming out, I would consider this to be a very strong yes, please. But I probably still would not prioritize pre-ordering it. But I would give it a yes, please, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone that doesn't yet have it.
Oh, yeah, I would do the same. It was on my list as well to cover. And I would say yes, please, definitely. It's a great film. I watched this when I was younger, and I think part of it's nostalgia, really, but I will definitely be wishlisting it because I do not own it, and I feel it needs to be in the collection eventually. Last one.
And last one, we have Mandabi, which is this week's Criterion release, a film by Ousmane Sembene, and it's the first movie ever made in the Wolof language, which is pretty cool. It's a Senegalese film, and after jobless Ibrahima Dieng receives a money order for 25,000 francs from a nephew who works in Paris, news of his windfall quickly spreads among his neighbors, who flock to him for loans, even as he finds his attempts to cash the order stymied in a maze of bureaucracy, and new troubles rain down on his head. Ooh, sounds fun. But, it also sounds like when you get money, you need to be careful who you tell about it.
Yeah.
But this is, like I said, a Senegalese film from 1968. So this is worth having, if only for its historical importance as a piece of African cinema. It does have a decent number of special features. It's not a film that I'm very familiar with or that I'm necessarily going to run out and get, but being a historically important Criterion film that I have no disinterest in, it automatically gets a solid yes, please on my list.
I think because of the pedigree, I'll leave it at yes, please on my end as well. I don't have the same, I have to get them all Criterion feel, but I do, mainly because that would be extremely expensive, and I'd have to do some major hunting. But still, it's one, just the language component alone is worth just holding on to it just as a piece of art for the collection. So, first off, because I forgot to say it, no Gundam.
Oh, yeah, no Gundam.
But we did have some stuff, of course, we left out. Horizon Line, Mustang, The Net, Slithis. Stuff that everybody wants to see eventually. But there's some fun. We've had a ton this time around.
No, we didn't.
If I tried, I don't think I could have gotten up to 24. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. Almost. I could almost, if we covered it. But then I'd have to cover some of these. No. But this is what we've got right now. And we got one priority. We got a bunch of yes pleases, so that's pretty good. And I hope you all have enjoyed this. Of course, if you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and at the very best, have a good day.
All right. Bye.